Hello, everybody. This is Mrs. Hoover, and I am the technology coordinator for St. John Paul II School, and I will be doing the presentation this evening. Mrs. Ruvolo is here with me, and she will be managing the Q&A in the background. I will be taking questions at the end of the presentation tonight. This presentation does cover grades 3 through 8, so there's a fair amount of information. I will say that most of this information is for all the grades 3 through 8, and there will be a few minutes near the end of my presentation, which is mainly for middle school. So if you can stick around through that, we'll get to questions and answers at the end of that. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to start off. Here's our agenda for this evening. I'll give you our technology update, talk about our team's school-wide initiative, managing assignments, basically how your students, or how our students, your children, are supposed to be using Teams for their assignments and as a main mode of communication with their teachers this year. So how we're going to be expecting them to use Teams and how you can help them with that. Other online resources, including our library system this year, which is online, and how we're going to be using that this year. We're going to spend a little bit of time just on our middle school overview and give you the contact information so you know how to reach people, and then we'll do our Q&A. So let's start with the tech for grades 3 through 5. So on the first floor, you guys should be happy to know we are very pleased to let you know that we have, in fact, ordered a special cart for the first floor laptops that the second through fourth graders use. And it is it uses ultraviolet light to disinfect all the laptops between uses. So that is the good news. The bad news is that, of course, all the technology that was ordered earlier this summer is in a holding pattern. We're still, unfortunately, we're not the only school in this boat that the technology is on back order and we haven't received it all yet. So we do, however, have a plan. So the second, third, and fourth graders, what they're going to do is with the cart, the computer cart, is since we're doing the classroom cohorts, which is what the classes are staying with their groups, each class will have the computer cart for a day, and they at the end of the day that cart will be disinfected before it is sent to any other classroom for use. So it will be thoroughly disinfected between classes, but it will only be in one classroom per day until we receive the UV cart, disinfecting cart. Good news on that front is that we are expecting it sometime in the next, we're hoping in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so that it should arrive. We'll let you know. Believe me, I'll be shouting it from the rooftops when it arrives at the school. I'll be very excited when it gets there. Okay, so we have some great plans in place for that. Now for fifth grade has their own classroom cart. So the classroom computers stay within their own cohort. Now the fifth grade computers, they're not getting a new cart, but we did plan to upgrade to replace the computers in fifth grade because they were, at that time that they were due for a replacement. So we are still waiting on those replacement computers as we are waiting on the sixth grade computers. So The 6th through 8th grade computers are the Lenovo 2-in-1 laptops, and we decided to go ahead and order the same laptops for 5th grade. So this year, the 5th graders are going to be using the same laptops as the laptops that the 6th through 8th graders get to take home with them. The 5th graders do not take home those laptops unless we go to an hybrid or all online format for education, and we have students who need the laptops at home. So if we go to a fully online format again, then the computers, will be able to be signed out once we get them, but until they arrive. So we do not have those computers in hand. They are delayed, and I'm working with my vendor and trying to figure out exactly when we're going to have them, but again, we're not the only school in this position, so there's not much I can do. I cannot hurry the process because, again, we're not the only ones waiting on these machines. But when we get them, this is going to be a very exciting, development. And for the 5th graders, especially the previous 5th graders who are now, moving into 6th grade, as they can tell you, oh boy, were those machines slow. So they know how lucky the upcoming 5th graders are for when these new computers come in. Right, these are going to be some awesome laptops to use. All right, so everybody, you should know that we are a Microsoft Office school. If you did not already know that, we are not a Google school. We are a Microsoft Office school, and we use Microsoft Office products. So what that means is that grades 5 through 8 have access to a jpii.org email account. So it isn't until grade 5 that they have access to email. All right. Now in grade 3, they have access to the Office 365 apps online. So grades 3 through 5 have access to Word and PowerPoint and Sway and Excel and all those apps, but they have them online at Microsoft Office Online. They don't have access to the full apps downloaded on the computers. All right. In grades 6 through 8, they have access to the full suite of products on the computers. So they do have them downloaded on the computers, not just available online. All right. And it's important for you to know that Teams will be the primary mode of communication between teachers and students. So the students need to be in the habit of checking into Teams daily. And it is not a bad idea to get in the habit of checking in to Teams daily at home with your child. So if you want to know, oh, what's your homework, or what are your assignments, you can look in Teams like, hey, let's log into Teams and let's see what your assignments are. You'll be able to see them right there with your child. So if you want to know what's going on with them, where you can have them log into Teams, and you can look into their Teams account to see what their assignments are. Now, that's not the same as school communications, the announcements and things that come from Mr. Fitzgerald or from Mrs. Ruvalo in the main office. Those are still going to come through the Roar and through the text messages and through email. That's different from the teacher to student communications. All right, so the teacher-student communications are going to be done primarily in Teams, and that's going to include keeping track of all the assignment information and missing assignments and additional handouts or questions and answers and those kinds of things. That's all going to be done in Teams. All right. So let's talk for a minute, about Teams and our Teams initiative. So when we had to go online in the spring, since we already use Microsoft, it made sense for us to stick with the products that we already have experience with, and that the students to some degree were already familiar with, the teachers already knew how to use. And I think the one area that we needed to do better on was, of course, training up the parents as well. So that's partly where this Tech Night is coming from, is to make sure that you are all informed about our Teams initiative as well, and understand that what we're planning to do here is that we're using Teams as an intentional tool that allows us to have this daily communication, this ongoing open communication with our students, no matter where they are. So they are using Teams, whether they are in class with us in school, whether they are at home. It doesn't matter if we have to go 50%, A day, B day, or if, the state closes down and we have to go all online again. It doesn't matter. We still have our communication through Teams. So Teams becomes that linchpin for us of communication, and becomes the cornerstone of our communication, of our, let's say, our daily routine, so that it doesn't matter. It's like, where am I going? Am I going to school today? Am I at home today? Doesn't matter. I log into Teams. I look for the messages from my teacher, and I look at my assignments for the day. Like the students will know what they need to do in Teams, no matter where they are. So that's not to say that there isn't going to be additional support. There will be, and lots of other communication, but that's the foundation. That's where we're coming from with this, that starts building our foundation. Okay, it's going to allow us to establish the routines that will help us to build up any model, that learning model that we end up using for learning. So parents, I encourage you to get the Office login information from your children. They are minors. You are allowed to have their login information, and if they're not sharing it with you, feel free to ask me, Mrs. Hoover. You can email me if you need their login information. So if you want to log into Teams and see their info, you can do that at any point. I have no problem with that. Okay. But I just encourage you to, like, if you make that an activity with your child, log in Teams, show me your work in Teams, show me the communication in Teams. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about what I'm talking about and where this is coming from. So an overview of Teams. When you log into Teams, all right, this is generally what it looks like. So when you log into Teams and you are in a team, all right, so this is to the left, this is what we call the me space on the left-hand side. So you see there's activity, chat, Teams, assignments, calendar. These are the things that are specific to the individual who is signed in. All right, those are the things that belong to the individual who is signed in, versus the we space at the top, or over here on the right-hand side, which is that joint shared space, which anybody who's logged into this team can see everything that's in that shared space. So this is more like social media, and everybody can see this, right? Like the posts. Okay, this is a lot more like Facebook, I guess, account, or more like a message board. Think of it as something like that. All right, so when you are on or having a conversation in this, you're in a channel. Now the channels are over here sort of between the me space and the we space. And the channels, each of the channels has a posts section for conversation and a files section for keeping files, right? And those kinds of things. So every team is going to have the general section, because that's how they're created. That's just your general lobby area, as it were. But every section is also going to have a questions section. So if you have questions, if your child has questions, they ask the questions in the questions channel, and the teachers will be monitoring the questions channels and answering questions there. And there will be a social channel, and the social channel is for chatting with your friends. It's for non-school related chatter. Okay, so non-school related chatter has to stay out of the school channels and stays in the social channels. But we know that they like to talk to each other, and I know that, like pet pictures are often, a very popular thing to share and that kind of thing. Or, they want to make plans or talk about, whatever video games or whatever else that they're doing. So that's what the social channel is for, right? They can have their side conversations there. All right. Moving on, tabs at the top. You can see at the top of the page, as part of the we space, these are the tabs. Now, the tabs are customizable. So you can see the posts, files, which is where the teachers will put, say, handouts. So any particular files that students need for an assignment will be in the files section. That's like a filing cabinet. So a lot less paper. That's helpful. If a student loses the paper for something, they should be able to find it in the file section. Additional resources. So for example, if a teacher is using, let's say, a Kahoot for a quiz review or test review, they can put the link to the Kahoot in the tabs. If they're using, in the lower grade, we use Envision Math. The link to the login to Envision Math can be a tab. So you just go to the tab, or you just go right to the link right at the top of the page, click on it, and go straight to that resource. So if a teacher, if there's something important that the teacher wants you to be able to find very quickly, they can make it a tab at the top of the page so it doesn't get lost, and so students know right where to go to find it. So tabs are pretty cool that way. Okay, and I want to say message options. One of the things that's really important is that if a teacher says you need to reply to a message, then that means you need to reply to a message, not create a new conversation. You don't want to start a new thread. You want it to be part of the reply, so it is attached. It is part of a thread. All right, because if you start a new conversation, it's no longer attached and it can get lost in the shuffle. And especially if something is for credit, you definitely want it to be attached as a reply, right? But there's other fun stuff. So we got stickers, we got emojis. You can like the posts very much like you can in other forms of social media. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Teams is fun to use. I like Teams. Teams is fun. All right, so there's the basic overview of what it looks like and how it gets used. So general expectations across the board. Students are going to be expected to check into Teams daily and follow any routine set by the teacher. And the teachers do have flexibility in what they are asking their students to do on a daily basis. But I can say that most teachers are likely going to be asking students to do a sort of daily check-in and look for assignments, or look for directions, or look for additional resources or activities, those kinds of things. Again, responses need to be a reply, not a new thread. Please, please, please keep questions in the questions channel and non-school conversations in the social channel. Okay, and if you're allowing, and I get this, I know, remember, this is for grades 3 through 8. So I'm just going to say, especially, you know, for, well, I don't know, I think it applies across the board, you know, making sure your kids, if they are on the social channel or wherever they are, making sure that their posts are respectful and school appropriate. Right, if they are on Teams, or if they're online in general, just making sure that they're being respectful online is a good thing, and we appreciate your help and cooperation with that. Thank you. Okay, so let me move on, because I know a big question is, what are you talking about assignments in Teams? Okay, so let's talk about assignments in Teams, because assignments, we're actually going to be assigning things in Teams to be turned in Teams as a way for us to keep track of their assignments. And we are doing this again so that if we go to any other learning model this year, depending upon what's going on, right, we are prepared to handle it. And it's not going to be a huge transition for students or our JP2 families in general, right? If we're doing this consistently, and some of the teachers, especially with the younger grades, it's very likely going to be a soft start with some of this. But know that there will be practice, and that they will teachers will be teaching students how to do this. I'll be helping them teach students how to do this as well. Middle school students, those who've already been at JP2 have had a fair amount of practice with this already. New students, of course, will be brought into the fold and get some training on this, and we'll be there to help and guide them along the way. So assignments and Teams. Assignments can be found in 2 places. You can find them in a team at the top as a tab. They're always a tab, okay? But also you can find assignments in the Me space on the left-hand side. And the assignments on the left-hand side is all the assignments assigned to that student in all the teams that they belong to. So, for example, every teacher that creates a team that includes that student, if all of those teachers give that student assignments, then they'll be able to see all the teams. So if we click on that, you can see, oh, look, I would need to choose a class. So this just happens to be a list. I used a sample student who happens to, I just threw them in a few teams just so you can see what it looks like. So then you would choose the class that you want to see the assignments from. But this is all the teams that this student has access to, and I would pick the team and then click on done. Okay, and now I can see here, this is pretty cool because I can see, oh look, I have a past due assignment here. I think I better get busy on this one. I think it's more than a little bit late. But this is the kind of thing, like if you're wondering if your child has everything turned in, you can see what's past due. You can see what they're missing, because if they have assignments assigned to them here, and you go to that left-hand side in the Me space and click on assignments and go through their teams, you can see the stuff that hasn't been turned in because it says past due. They never turned it in. Okay, and you can see the completed stuff by clicking on the completed arrow next to completed. All right, and you can see, oh, I'm going to get to that in a second. All right, so I want to say that if you click on any of the assignments, all right, and you can see here, if I clicked on an assignment up above, and it brings up the assignment, and then I'm going to click on the assignment itself, and it's going to open it up for me. and I just created just a sample daily work. And you can see that it has the instructions for what to do, and there is an assignment attached. It's a Word document. Now, I should, as a student, just be able to click on this and it should open for me and I should be able to edit it. Occasionally, and there were a couple of times in the spring, especially when Microsoft was, updating and doing some other things, that it didn't always work that way. And if that's the case, that's okay. There's always at least 3 ways to do anything in Microsoft, which is one of the reasons I like it. So if you look to the right-hand side, you see the 3 dots, the ellipses, that's a menu. If you click on the menu, you can see that it opens up options and you have different options. Now, you can open it in Teams. You can open it in Word only if you're in grades 6 through 8. Only if you're in grades 6 through 8. If they're in grades 3 through 5, they do not have Word on the school machines. Now, if they're at home and they're on a parent computer and you have Word, then they could open it in Word. But if you don't have Word, they don't have Word. But they can always open it in Word Online as well. I will say this, if you download a copy and open it that way, and then you save it, you're going to have to add it back. If you do it any other way, if you just open it and edit it, it will be automatically saved so that you can just turn it in when you are done, which is nice. Okay. If you edit it by downloading it first, you're going to have to add it back when you are done. All right. And you would add that work here. You can also add additional work. So let's say, you did the daily work and you wanted to add you did a project and you have a picture that you want to add. You took a picture of yourself with your project, or you just have a picture of you with your pet and you were talking with your teacher about it and you want to include a picture of you with your pet. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So you can add that picture or add that additional item. And when you click on this, it will bring open the new dialog box. And over here, you can see you have your online options like your OneDrive or a link. And down on the bottom, you can upload from the device. So if you save your picture as a file, then or save it, to say Google Drive, right? And then you can upload it from there or get a link from there, right? And then upload it from there. Okay, and then when you're done, you click Turn In and you get a really cool little graphic. It's not always a rocket ship, but I like the rocket ship. So you click Turn In, you get a cool little graphic and you get all kinds of fun ones. I always like the reward. That's a lot of fun. And then once it's turned in, once you've turned it in, you have the option to undo the turn in, but you can see now it says turned in when it was turned in and you've got that check mark. So you know it's turned in. All right, which is really cool. But if you say, uh-oh, I need to fix something, I need to change something, you would click on undo turn in and then you can edit it and do more stuff to it and then turn it in again. Okay, now if I go back to the Me space, I'm going to click on assignments again. All right, and this time I want you to notice I'm going to click where it says completed and open that little caret so I can see all the completed work. And now I want you to notice over here, do you see that little dialog box? That means that not only did this morning work get completed, it's got a grade. I got 9 out of 10 points, and there's a comment from my teacher. So I'm looking for this. I need to look for those comments. So doing work in Teams is not just turning it in and I never look at it again. Now I got to look and see if my teacher turned it back to me with comments and no grade, very likely I need to do more work on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that and oh, look at my feedback. Nice job. Yay, my teacher likes my work. Okay, I'm happy. right? So there's nothing else that I need to do. But if there is something else that I need to do, then I can edit it again. I would just click on it again, and then I could turn it in again. All right, if I need to do that. All right, so that's where I would turn it in again if I need to do that. But in this case, I got, it was fine. All right, so that's Teams. That's an overview of how the homework works and how you can check on your child's assignments. Again, just look on the left-hand side for assignments. And when you look at them, look at not only the assigned ones and the past due, but also look at the completed ones for feedback from the teacher to make sure that just because your child turned something in doesn't mean that there isn't more work that needs to be done, because sometimes a teacher will send it back to the student. Your child turned it in, but it may need more work, and they would need to look at the comments to see that and return it in. All right.
Ready for questions?
No, not quite.
Okay.
Wait, you want me to take questions?
No.
Okay.
Just to know you're ready.
All right. No, I got some more stuff to do. I'm trying, folks. Other online resources, grades 3 through 5, we use Envision Math. The links to Envision Math and other resources that the teachers use will be in Teams. The online information or the login information will be sent to you by your child's teachers. So you should be on the lookout for that. So, and it will be in Teams, like I said, they can put that as a tab. And I know a lot of the teachers have already set that up in their teams. So, in their class teams. So if and when we do go to any other learning model, it's something that we'll definitely be using again. And it's also a good resource for additional practice and for additional practice. And if the teacher, can assign anything from it as well. So again, if there are any other websites or additional resources that they put out for students to use, especially at the middle school, the teachers will often have additional resources that students can use to help them practice. The social studies, that's all online. And I know that she's going to be, she'll be publishing that information as well. But again, for the students, it's all going to be in their Teams. They're going to have all that information that they need. So you can find it in Teams as well. Just have them log into Teams and show you their stuff. Okay. I want to take just a couple minutes and show you about the library. Now, if some of you are scribbling furiously and trying to keep up with all the stuff, don't forget this is being recorded and will be available on the JP2 website when we're done. So you can always go back and revisit this as well. Because I know it's a lot of information. I'm trying to cram it all in here tonight for you, okay? This year, because, library and we're trying to do all the social distancing and trying to keep everything disinfected. And we're following all of the CDC guidelines and, the state of Connecticut and also city of Middletown. And children are allowed to have library books, especially if they keep them within their cohorts. And we can, with the library, Mrs. Millardo is able to take the books back in plastic bags, which are sealed, and then quarantined for 48 hours, and disinfected, and then can be reused again. But children are not going to be able to peruse the library. They can't go in the library and touch all the books and browse all the books. So our solution was, hey, we have this great online network where we have this ability for people to search our library online. we're we actually got this system last fall, but we didn't do too much with it. We didn't over publicize it. There's a kiosk in the library itself for students to use if they want to look for something in particular. But now what we're going to do is if students want a particular book, what they can do is they can, at home with you, reserve a book. So you can go to the website that is at the top of the screen. It's also going to be on the school website and in every class team. Okay, so it's going to be available in lots of places. So it will be easy for you to find. And I recommend, once you get it, you can bookmark it. So if you have a child who really likes the library books and wants to have a library book at school, you can, browse books with them. So I just want to spend a couple minutes and just explain a little bit how this works. So you can see this is what it looks like right now. All right, so this is the actual JP2 library website. So when you go to this website, first thing that they will do is they will log in. So they have their login information, which will be provided to them in their classrooms. Don't want to necessarily make that public to everybody in a public forum situation here. So it will be provided to the students in their classrooms. All right, and once they log in with their username and password, okay, then they have a couple of different options for how they want it to look. This is just a basic format, which is pretty good for, say, the older students. But if you have younger students at home who this is, very, boring, very intimidating looking. If you click on that little smiley face, we get the kid view. So with the kid view, they can, it's much more kid-friendly icons that they can click on, or you can go through, and those are searches. Like you can do it by subject searches and look for things that way. But either way you choose to do it, which is fine. Once you have found a book, and you click on a book that you want to reserve. So we're assuming you did a search, you clicked on a book that you were interested in. This one is National Velvet. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on that button that says reserve. All right, so I click on the reserve button, and then I'm going to click on that button that says OK at the bottom. Right, so I've got reserve and then I've got OK. And once I do, now I'm going to scroll up, that goes away, and I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the screen, and I'm going to click where it says My Items. See that where it's by the account information? If I click where it says My Items, it's going to show me what I have. It says you have items waiting for pickup, National Velvet. So that item waiting for pickup is the item that Mrs. Millardo will go in on your classroom, your child's classroom library day, and will bring that book to the classroom on that day and give it to your child to have in the classroom for that week. Okay, and then the following week, if you've reserved a different book, when she comes in, she will take the book back, and then the old book back, and hand out the new book, that kind of thing. All right. And we're still working out the kinks, and we're still working on, making sure everything in the system is completely up to date and searchable and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we're working on with this. So bear with us and be patient with us, but at least we have, students who really want to have library books can still have library books. So, but it's going to be, of course, a much more trimmed down library sort of experience, but it'll just be an online one instead of an in-person one. Okay. Okay, so that's library. All right, contact information. school website. I keep mentioning the school website, so I figured if you guys don't know, it's www.jpii.org. That's us. Good place to bookmark because basically everything that we talk about is pretty much on that website. And especially during the school year, it's a very dynamic website. We're constantly updating information, and the important information is always on there, and we'll make sure it's in a place that's easy to find. And if something isn't easy to find, you tell us and we'll fix it. All right. Administration, of course, the people you're most likely to need emails for, contact information for. And here's the important one though. If you have technical assistance needs, if you are having trouble with Teams or having technical issues, your child is having any issues with the computer or logging in or anything like that, please contact the help desk email. That is what it is for. The technology email is for more general questions, not for help desk kind of questions. And I would like to keep those two as separate as possible because of the number of emails that I receive on a daily basis at my technology email, and is that if there are important help desk emails or people who need help with things, they can get lost. And I don't like that to happen. So please send them to the help desk email because that is a monitored email that gets, I get alerts that let me know that there's specifically something for the help desk, that people need help with something. So if you need help, send it to the help desk. Okay. All right. I think why don't we take a few minutes to take some questions about this information, and then I'll spend just a few minutes talking about middle school one-to-one, about the computer stuff for that, because I just have about 5 minutes worth of stuff for middle school.
All right, I'm going to publish this first one. Tell me if you don't see it.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing in the meantime. Go ahead.
Published.
Give me a second. Okay. I gotta pull everything up. Am I still sharing? No, I'm not still sharing. Okay. Can parents have team accounts set up to view kids' homeworks and assignments? Not in grades 3 through 8, because it interferes with the teachers' abilities to see, or when they're assigning homework, it goes out to all of the accounts that are in Teams. And it's something that I'm working on separately in trying to have a separate, more detailed parent email that's sent out to let you know what your child's activity in Teams has been for the week. But right now, the kind of data that's sent out is actually not as useful as you might think. So it's something that I've actually been talking to a couple of different people at Microsoft about, and I'm hoping to see if we can't get something that's a little more useful in that regard, but I don't have it in place just yet. Getting there, okay? And it's not that hard to just, you know what, the easiest way to see your kid's stuff is just log in as your kid. Okay. Has any decision been made to give parents a login that has access to multiple child's assignments? I'm not sure I understand. Isn't that the same question as?
I don't know. I don't have that published.
Oh, okay.
It's similar.
Oh,
to
mine.
the question.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. All right. I think I might also be in the wrong place. You got to tell me what I'm looking at. Tell me if I'm in the wrong place. Okay. All right. Yes. So the decision been made to give parents a login. Well, what you have in that case is you have Plus Portals. You have that access in Plus Portals. What you need to know, though, is that in order to be ready to go for any particular setup learning situation that we may need to go to for distance learning, for 8A, B-Day, for, fully in class or fully in school, we're using that Teams. Teachers are using Teams with the students, okay? And we're also in the process of getting Teams integrated with Plus Portals so that any assignments they're putting in Teams are automatically being added into the grades in Plus Portals for the teachers. But as parents, you already have that access in Plus Portals. But if you want to see the communications that teachers are having back and forth with the students, log into your students' Teams. Okay. Can library books come home? We were having this conversation, and I'm not sure what the final decision was on that, because Mrs. Millardo was talking with Mr. Fitzgerald, and at that point, see, I'm doing the technology aspect and making sure that the interface, online interface works. That's my piece. So last I understood, or from what I know, she's doing the exchange in school. As far as whether they're coming home or not, I do not have the answer to that. Mrs. Ruvalo, do you know the answer to that?
But library books,
Are they allowed to go home, or are they staying in school?
I don't know that answer yet, but I'll see if I can find out and I'll send it out.
Okay, so Mrs. Ruvalo is going to see if she can find out the answer to that, and we will get an answer and send that out to people. So that's a good question. We don't know. I don't know what the final decision was. This is what happens. Don't you ask the tech person. Oh, I try.
E-learning at JPI.org, is that for the distance learning?
Yes.
All right, let's see here. I put another one in about, there's another one out there. The students have a chance in class to use laptops and reserve books, or only at home.
That's going to be up to the teachers.
Okay.
That depends on their classroom schedule.
Okay. Here's another one about classes on Teams.
Will all the classes be available in Teams? Yes. Yes. Including specials, yes.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yes. I like that question. I like yes questions.
This one doesn't really.
Okay.
I'm gonna just publish it physically.
All right.
See it?
Nope.
In the event that the school goes to virtual learning, has there been any online teaching platform set up at this time?
It just popped up.
Okay.
In the event that school goes to virtual learning, has there been any online teaching platform set up at this time? Live streaming. Yeah, that's what we can do that in Teams. Yeah, we do Teams meetings. Absolutely. That's why we're using Microsoft, because we have that ability. We can we have that ability to run the meetings through our Microsoft software already. It's good stuff. Is there more?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not a distance learning.
No, this is not distance learning. We're talking about if the whole school goes to virtual learning
So
again.
anybody who's asking me about distance learning, I'm referring them to elearning.org.
That's correct. Okay. But yeah, so yes, in the event, that's why we're using Teams, so that in the event that we need to move from any learning model. It doesn't matter. We're going to have that communication and those daily routines established. So it doesn't matter where the student is, we have the foundation. Now, things clearly are going to have to be different, and we're going to have to, build on that foundation differently. But the teachers already have the experience, and the teachers have that training that we can, we can do that. But what we found in the spring was that we needed to establish that routine to make it easier to have that, what do I want to say, that comfortable, this is normal. We wanted that element of normalcy, right? It doesn't matter where I am, this is school, this is house, this is what I need to do for school. And this is part of school no matter where I am. And okay, this is changing, but this isn't. So we want there to be that something that stays the same and something that is normal, that becomes normal, right? And that's going to help everybody, because these are some crazy times. All right, anything else, Mrs. Ruble?
I don't have anything else on there. I was able to privately reply to some.
Okay.
Just referring them to the e-learning.
Perfect.
Email. So.
Okay, so very briefly, I promise to be brief. I am going to, this is the, hold on, oops. Go back to Teams. I am going to do the middle school computers. All right, can you see this, Mrs. Reveal? It should say middle school computers.
It does say middle school.
Okay, wonderful. Very different format from the last one. Sorry about that, guys. But I just want to kind of run through a little bit, especially for those of you who are curious, especially if you have, if you're a new family or any rising sixth graders, so you haven't had the machines yet and you're interested in a little bit learning more about the tech piece of it. And there are some a few other updates that some of you might be interested in hearing about anyway. So something that you need to be aware of, and this is, by the way, true for 3rd through 8th grade anyway, is that all students with access to Office 365 are expected to save their files to their OneDrive. Yes, it's even in the user agreement that, yes, they are expected to save all their files to their OneDrive, not to the machine itself. Okay, students can log in anywhere on any device, at home, on their phone. Yes, you can do this from your phone. It can be done. It's hard, but it can be done. Right? You can do it on a phone, you can do it on a tablet, you can do it on a laptop, you can do it on a desktop, it doesn't matter, right? Just use any browser and log in at office.com using their JP2 email or username and password, all right? Grade 6 and new students get a Lenovo 300E flip touchscreen laptop. Hopefully, normally during the first full week of school. This year, it's when we get them. When we get them, the students will get them. I promise, okay? When we get them, but these are really, really cool. They are dual machines, meaning they can be used as a tablet. They're full laptops. These are not Chromebooks. These are full laptops running Windows 10 Pro. All right, so they have full capability. They are really nice little machines. And what's really, really cool is at the end of 8th grade, Students who graduate from JP2 get to keep these machines and take them with them. All right, and these are some sweet little machines. They can be fully expected to do well into high school, especially as you know, because they have the touch screen tablet function. These are good machines. These will definitely carry them. Okay, these will definitely carry them. They're basically, if you want to look them up, they're comparable to the Lenovo Yoga laptops. Okay, so it's a pretty good deal. All right, so anyway, I get excited by this stuff. And again, these are the same machines we're getting for 5th grade this year. So I'm a happy camper. All right, every laptop this year comes with an always-on case. Those cases stay on the computer at all times, and they are intended, they're like the bumpers on your car. They are intended to be the shock absorber. They take the damage. Once those cases, like you drop the computer and the case gets damaged, it's like your bumper. Once it's damaged, it's no longer really protecting the computer. Okay, if the case gets damaged, all right, you can then purchase an additional replacement case at that point. It's the same case, but it has to be the same case. You have to use the approved cases for this. There are a couple of models that we're willing to work with, but it has to be one of the approved models because there's a lot of junky cases out there. Let's just say that. All right, but I do ask that please, 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 computers must be transported in a backpack with a computer pocket, a padded computer pocket, or a computer bag. Something that is padded and that is specifically for computer transport. All right, we've done really well in the last couple of years with students doing a really nice job taking care of their machines, and I'd really like to keep up that trend. Thank you. Okay, all right, basics, just so you know. It is expected that middle school students must bring their computers to school every day, fully charged. It is expected. It is homework. It is homework that they are to charge their computers at home overnight. Just make it part of the routine. Is your computer plugged in? It's like, did you brush your teeth? Is your computer plugged in? Right? It should just be part of that routine. If a student forgets to plug in their laptop or forgets to bring their laptop to school, if I have one laptop that is available for a loaner at the moment, and it's not one of the fancy ones. It's one of my older Dells. And a student who forgets may borrow one no more than twice per trimester. So don't be forgetting the laptop. However, if something happens to your laptop, like it's out for repair, then you get the loaner to take back and forth until your laptop gets repaired and gets returned to you. Because that's how that works. Okay? Okay. All right. Acceptable use policy. Understand that we have policies at JP2 that are based on respect. We expect our students to just be respectful. Respect yourself, respect others, respect the property. The acceptable use policy is in the parent-student handbook. It's not that long. You should review it with your children. And the last page of the parent-student handbook needs to be signed and dated and returned to the school. And I'm setting that for the end of that second week there of school. It needs to be returned by. Okay.
The handbook has not been published yet, so we're just finishing it up.
Yep. So I figure it goes out usually when the first day of school, does it not, Mrs. Rubula?
Yeah, it'll go out email.
Oh, it'll go out. She's going to send out an email.
Yeah.
And we'll also have it on the website.
And the link in the room.
And the link in the roar. See, I mean, we got you covered, people. We got you covered.
There is a question out there.
Oh, okay. Just give me a minute. Almost done. The middle school user agreement is a separate agreement that you and your child must sign in order to take home a computer. This is a contract that your child and you are agreeing to about responsibilities for being assigned to a laptop. Okay? And you must read it, initial, sign, and date the last page of that user agreement, but you keep the rest of it. I don't want that user agreement back. I wrote it. I know what's in it. I need you to keep a copy at home so that you guys know what I'm expecting. And honestly, that user agreement basically says things like, I promise I won't leave my laptop on the floor. I promise I will keep it clean. I promise I will run updates. I promise, like, I'm not going to do anything illegal. You know, basically, a lot of it is commonsensical, but we want our students to take good care of these machines, and we want them to take it seriously. So we want them to sign this user agreement so they understand that they are, you know, we're making this agreement with them, and we're holding them responsible for the care and keeping of this machine. I don't know if you remember back in the day. I remember in middle school we had to take care of an egg. You remember having to take care of an egg like for a week? We had to take care of an egg and not break it. Well, nowadays they get a laptop. So laptops are more expensive than eggs. I'm just going to say that. Okay. So I must have a user agreement signed and on file before a student is allowed to take a laptop home. That is policy. It has to be done, just so you know. Hey, but until we get the laptops for the 6th grade students and the new students, it's kind of a moot point. All right. So one last thing, because people always seem to be surprised, is that over the breaks, I collect the laptops. I run updates. I clean them up. I service them. I make sure that they are running efficiently. So I do basic servicing on them and that kind of thing. So everybody must turn in, all students, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, turn in their laptops over the breaks, Christmas break, for servicing. And 6th and 7th graders have to turn in their laptops over the summer. All right? And everybody is responsible for keeping their laptops safe, clean, and updated. All right. Okay. There are the highlights of the rules. I covered them all. I'm not going to say them again. There they are. Hit the highlights of the rules. All right. Any other questions? Here we are. I'm going to stop sharing so you can look at me again.
I published 2.
Okay, I'm trying to get back to the Q&A so I can see them. Okay, where are we? Published. What do we download to get this on our computer? To get what on our computer? Teams or this presentation? I'm not sure I understand the question.
Someone can answer in the Q&A. Tell us when the presentation will be available.
Yeah, the presentation is going to be available on our website.
I'll send a text out letting people know.
Okay, and Mrs. Rubelo says she's going to send a text out letting people know as well. Okay, so you don't have to download anything. It's just going to be a link to a recording.
Right. I did answer this question, but this is it. It says, this is our first year attending your school.
Ah.
We are confused with the computer things. Entering 6th grade, and someone need extra help with this. And I said, absolutely.
Gotcha. That's my job.
Yep. So, and the middle school teachers are very.
Yep. Helpful. Absolutely. Yep. It will all be. So if you're asking for extra help for the student, absolutely. Student's going to be getting as much. There will be. This will all be gone over in class, and the student will definitely be getting a lot of extra help in class and learning about this there. And if you need any extra help at any point or have questions or need anything, just email the help desk at any time. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I don't mind at all. I like to be able to help people.
There are no other questions out there.
Is that it? Really? Cool. Okay. All right. If that is it, if there are no other questions, then we are all set. You are all good to go. If anyone has any other questions, you can go ahead and ask, or feel free to either email Mrs. Ruvalo or myself, you know, at any point, and we'd be happy to take care of your questions. She is T. Ruvalo at jpii.org, and I am technology at jpii.org. All right. Thank you, folks.